Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel, and welcome back to The Artist Way, and welcome to week 10. I will admit I took a very long break from this book, but we're back, and I read this chapter honestly at the perfect time, so let's get straight into it. This week's chapter is called Recovering a Sense of Self-Protection, which I think is very fitting. This chapter low-key hit pretty hard because I have been feeling pretty stuck in my own creativity lately, especially while trying to get settled into this new semester and all the changes that come along with it. Oh, and welcome to my new apartment. The first section from this chapter I want to talk about is workaholism, which called me all the way the fuck out. For many, work is the block of choice. Workaholism is an addiction, and like all addiction, it blocks creative energy. I will say that I am a pretty busy person, and that is entirely on purpose. Like, if I can just keep saying I'm busy, then no one can ask me to start a creative project. Right? I work so much because it makes me feel productive and important. And I will admit that I tend to use all of the work that I have self-inflicted on myself as an excuse for why I'm not more creative. I tell myself that I have to work in order to make everything worth it. For a workaholic, work is synonymous with work. We must learn to see workaholism as a block instead of a building block. Because I definitely let myself earn being creative after doing work, school, or any other task that I'm honestly using to avoid being creative. But then the gag is that after all that work, I don't even feel like being creative. I'm tired, I'm drained. So I push it off, and it becomes this cycle of, if I had more time, I'd have more fun. We like to tell ourselves, but this is seldom the truth. And honestly, if I magically had 3 more hours in my day, I'd probably end up napping or doom scrolling, or somehow just invent more work to do. Which leads me to the real trick that she mentions. The trick is to define overwork. And this is where we often lie to ourselves, bargaining to hold on to those abusive behaviors that still serve us. And that line hit hard because I do use overworking as armor. It makes me feel safe and in control, like I'm doing something I'm supposed to be doing. But it's really just another excuse to avoid being vulnerable in my art. And if I'm being honest, hiding behind work feels way easier than facing the empty page. The second section I found really impactful is called Fame, which I didn't really think this one would affect me or apply to me, but it actually really did. We all like credit where credit is due. As artists, we don't always get it. Yet, focusing on fame, on whether we are getting enough, creates a continual feeling of lack. Wanting more will always snap at our heels, discredit our accomplishments, erode our joy at another's accomplishment. I will be the first to admit that I like attention. I mean, who doesn't? I also like to be acknowledged, especially for my hard work. Unfortunately, and what I've seen a lot from the world around me, creativity is not always seen as hard work. Most people view it as something anybody could do. It's not that difficult. So in combination of that and liking attention, I'd be having a hard time, to say the least. But this is where fame comes in. Think of your favorite creative of any medium. No matter what, if they're famous, they always get praised for their art. And you cannot tell me that's not an incredible feeling that everybody wants. What we are really scared of is that without fame, we won't be loved as artists or as people. Another confession. I think I'm addicted to the idea of fame. And I think I have been ever since I was young, even though what I thought I wanted from fame has kind of changed. Now, while I do think that I still do want some of those things, I want to be known for how good my work is. And call it a kink if you want, but I want to be told how great my work is. Only when we are being joyfully creative can we release the obsession with others and how they are doing. Which goes perfectly with the next and last section I'll be talking about in this video, called competition. When we focus on competition, we poison our own well and impede on our own progress. We make excuses for our avoidance, excuses focused on others. If comparing yourself to other people was a sport, I would be a D1 athlete with 20 gold medals, easily. Not that it's a competition, but I'd win. And honestly, I let what other people are doing, especially if it's something close to what I want to do or they're close to my age, get to me. Again, I could blame this on me growing up as a gifted kid, but it's actually crazy how much I compare myself to others and actually let it tear me apart. Camper talks about in this chapter how artists who compare themselves to others tend to not finish their project and keep restarting new ones, trying to get ahead or discover something original. If it is too early or late for a piece of work, its time will come again. All work is influenced by other work. All people are influenced by other people. That constant starting and stopping and abandoning doesn't just hurt our progress, it robs us of the chance to live an artistic life. As Cameron says, looking for the short-term win, ignoring the long-term gain, we short-circuit the possibility of a creative life led by our own lights and not the key lights of fashion. And honestly, I'd rather learn to live in my own light, messy and imperfect and weird, than waste all my time chasing somebody else's spot. Now, an update on the morning pages is that I finished my first full journal, which is absolutely insane. Every single page of this notebook has been used. And it actually makes me sad to retire her. We've grown so much together. This is my new journal. And if you've been watching this journey since the beginning, then you know that this is a journal that I bought on my first ever artist days. So we love a full circle moment. I'm treating the start of this new journal as the start of a new era for me. New journal, new me, you know? I'm still only doing 1 page per day, but I am actually doing them in the morning now because I have since started school, so I do them before I leave to go to class. The pages in this journal are also bigger and the lines are also smaller, so I am technically writing more on 1 page than I was in this journal. So I'm still writing a lot, don't worry. For my artist day this week, I went to the movies. Big shock. But this time it was actually different, so bear with me. I went to Screen Unseen, which if you don't know is basically a program that AMC does where you can go to the movies, see a movie that hasn't come out yet, but you don't know what movie it is. All you know is the rating before you get there, and you find out what movie you're watching as you're watching it. It's like a mystery box, but with movies. I had never actually done this before, and I was really nervous for some reason. I'm not always the biggest fan of surprises when it comes to movies, but it was fine actually. I truly do think though the best way to watch movies is to watch it when you have no idea what the movie is about, what's going on, etc, etc. The movie that was screened when I went was called Eden. I was low-key surprised by the cast because it was actually kind of star-studded. It had Sydney Sweeney, Daniel Rule, Jude Law, Vanessa Kirby, Anna de Armas. Unfortunately, however, I wasn't the biggest fan of it. It was based off of this true story of these 3 groups of people who come to this remote island post World War I, I think. I thought it was going to be a horror thriller based movie, but it really wasn't, and I was kind of just left waiting throughout the movie. I did like the ending though, so it gets a few points back. I think I gave the movie 3 stars, but I give the artist day overall 8 out of 10 stars. It was just a really fun experience, and I think everyone should try it. In conclusion, this chapter talks a lot about things that we need to deconstruct if we really do want to live that creative life we're seeking. And I know that the entire book talks about that, but this chapter to me talks more about things that we haven't always considered bad in other fields. Things like work, busyness, or even perfectionism is always celebrated as strength, but when it comes to creativity, they're actually barriers. For me, it was a reminder that productivity doesn't always equal creativity, and sometimes the best thing I can do for my creativity is step back, slow down, and make space for play. Because that's not lazy, that's actually a part of the work. So I guess the takeaway here is that sometimes living creative life isn't about adding more, it's about unlearning the habits that drain us, even if they look good from the outside. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and tell me what movie you would have loved to see before it came out. I would love to know. Okay, I love you so much.